Hello everyone, this is again Professor Vincent Torre Bungolan. Alright, so our topic for today is about the hypothesis testing. Okay, we will be discussing thoroughly the components, attributes, and characteristics of a hypothesis testing. So this is one of the very important topics that should be discussed in school by professors teaching statistics and other related discipline. All right. So hello everyone. This is again Professor Vincent Torre Bungolan. All right. So our topic for today is about the hypothesis testing. All right. So in our previous lesson, I already discussed the different format, the different parts, the sample, sampling, and any other parts of a research. Alright, so uh, similar to the previous topics that I already discussed, hypothesis testing is very important. Okay, this is very important when we conduct research, when we conduct investigation, when we can conduct an experiment, because this will be based our decision. All right. So, but before that, I'm going to discuss statistics. Statistics is defined as a science of collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. Data is the raw material wherein the information was derived. In processing data, it is important to perform the different steps to understand the distribution, the attributes, and the other characteristics pertaining to how it behaves through the process of the exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data analysis is the first step before analyzing data, and failing to perform this step will make our analysis questionable. All right, so like I said no a while ago, hypothesis testing is very important. That should be discussed by professor teaching statistics and other related domain. However, there are professors who only focus on the application of the test, but failed to discuss the theoretical aspects of the statistical procedures. So many professors thus only read the definition and follow the procedures involved in a statistical test. Well, that is good and that is a must. But for me, as a data scientist, as a data science professional, no, as a statistician, this is not enough. I guess the students need to understand beyond the definition. The students need to understand the theoretical perspective, the rational. All right? And this is the the topics that I would like to highlight in our discussion about the hypothesis testing. Okay? So to give you a demonstration on what I would like to highlight in this topic, as you can see, this definition of statistics can be found anywhere else. From the books, from the different researches, from the different search engines. But I think it is very important to explain beyond the definition so that the students or the learners can able to understand well the topics. Because I tell you honestly, I have interviewed a lot of applicants from different role, analytics role, rank and file people, managerial role. I already talked to some of the applicants, and I noticed that most of them failed to explain the rationale why they were doing so. All right? And I decided to discuss this lesson because I think this will help everyone. All right, so most of the professors, so because this is what I've noticed now when I was when I was teaching in a university, and I noticed that some of the professors teaching research and statistics only discussing the procedures required in a statistical test, only discussing the definition. Let's say, for example, these are the steps in a hypothesis testing. Okay, so these are the steps in a hypothesis testing. Step 1, state the null and alternative hypothesis. Step 2, set the level of significance. Step 3, decide the test statistics. Step 4, state the decision rule. And then step 5, conclusion. And 6, recommendation. Well, that is good. At least the students are, aware of on how, how to conduct or how to perform a hypothesis testing. But it should not end to that. Learners should need to understand what happened and why we are setting this criteria. Let's say, for example, what happened if we accept the null hypothesis? What happened if we reject the null hypothesis? What is the connection of the level of significance in a hypothesis? These are the things that needs to, explain further to the learners. Okay? So, let's proceed with the hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing is a procedure in statistics wherein the analyst will test the assumptions regarding the population parameter. What does this mean? For example, in a typical situation in court, all right, there are two people or three people involved. All right. The first one is the accused. Second one is the person who filed the complaint. And third is the judge. All right. So, on the side of the accused, this is what we call the note, or let's say, for example, the accused is the null hypothesis. The complainant is the alternative hypothesis. And the judge is the researcher or investigator. As an accused, he might tell you, you cannot tell me that I am the real person who did this crime unless prove it first. So this is the reason why innocent, why people in the, while the defendant is considered an innocent until proven guilty. Okay? The complainant should need to present evidences and proof to the court. And the judge will balance, will review the evidences presented before his office. Alright? And this is the notion of a hypothesis testing. Okay? So we need to test the claim. Alright, so in a hypothesis testing or in a court's decision, this involves the actual verdict. Yan. Alright, so the decision might only be true or false or convicted or not. So the same thing with this one. The type 1 error is the rejection of the null hypothesis when it is true. And the type 2 error is the acceptance of the null hypothesis when it is false. Alright, so this is what it means. The statistical error or the type of error in a hypothesis testing is very important in a research or investigation. In our example, no, mayroong sinampahan ng kaso. Okay? At sa isang krimen. So bilang isang kumbaga sumusubaybay sa kaso, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na siya nga yung may sala o may kagagawan sa krimen. So, yung sinampahan ng kaso ay yun yung masasabi nating null hypothesis. Sasabihin niya sa atin, huwag ninyo akong hatulan hanggat hindi napapatunayan ang habla sa akin. Yun yung null hypothesis. Ang alternative hypothesis is that kaya nga kita sinampahan ng kaso dahil nakita ko mismo, ako mismo ang nakakita. Ako ang living proof na ikaw ang may kagagawan sa pangyayari. So, ibig sabihin, ang alternative hypothesis ay kumakatawan sa taong naghahabla. Ang null hypothesis ay kumakatawan sa taong inihahabla. Ang gumagawa ng hypothesis test ay ang hukom. Na ang decision ng hukom ay magiging dalawa lamang. Maaaring i-convict niya yung tao o ipawalang sala. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng type 1 at type 2 error. Alright? So, ang gagawin ng judge ngayon ng hukom ay magkakaroon ng hearing. So, the purpose of that hearing is to give the complainant a chance to prove his claims. He will be given enough time to provide evidences and proof about his claim. And on the other hand, the accused will also be given a chance to counter the complaint. Okay? And the judge will weigh the evidences and the counter evidences of both parties. So this is the reason why a judge should need to be, be very objective in his decision. Similar to us, researcher, we must be, we should be balanced as well when we conduct research. Okay? Do not consider ourselves to, accept HO, reject HO. That is one of the very wrong Alright, so that is one of the very wrong situation, lalo na in the academe. I've been teaching for more than 18 years now. And I've already handled a lot of researches, theses, and dissertations. So nakakatawa because sabi ng mga professor, sabi ng mga estudyante, Sir, bakit po yung professor ko sabi niya, dapat daw reject yung null hypothesis. Dapat daw ina-accept natin yung alternative. Dapat daw ganito. Dapat lumabas na significant. Diba? Alam niyo yung point na nagiging bias na yung research. And minsan to tell you exactly, visit na visit ako dun sa professor. Actually, hindi dun sa estudyante, sa professor. Kasi, tila baga, gusto niyang I don't know kung anong tawag doon, kung ano bang best description nung ganun na mga decision. Bimo ka, nagugulat ako, sabi ng professor, Sir, sabi po, dapat daw accept, dapat may ganito, dapat ganyan, dapat there is correlation, dapat there is differences. Diba? So, medyo nakakapagtaka. Bakit ganun yung tinuturo sa mga estudyante, sa mga mag-aaral? Well, anyway, this is the purpose of this discussion. Alright? So, balik tayo dun sa korte. So, dalawa lamang yung magiging desisyon ng judge. So, it's either i-convict niya yung sinampahan ng kaso or ipapawalang sala niya. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin ng type 1 error, rejection of the null hypothesis. So, punta kayo sa baba. Reject HO. Okay? Ang type 1 error daw ay rejection of the null hypothesis when it is true. Yun, punta kayo sa taas, yung null hypothesis is true. Yeah. Pero naipaliwanag ba sa inyo yan? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng rejection of the null hypothesis when it is true? Sige nga, try nga natin kung may natatandaan kayo o alam nyo yung paliwanag dyan. Or how to explain this kind of situation. Rejection of the null hypothesis when it is true. Alright? So, ibig pong sabihin nito, ito yung pagkakataon na kung saan ang naging desisyon ng judge ay nireject niya yung HO. Pero, tama pala. Ibig sabihin, sa punto ng korte is that hinatulan niya yung tao na inosente pala. Okay? Yun yung reject HO. So, mamaya ipapakita ko sa inyo yung ibig sabihin, yung pagkakaiba ng HO and H1 o alternative sa null hypothesis. So, bakit HO yung naka-point? Bakit HO yung pinakang basis? So, pero ang ibig pong sabihin yan, rejection of the null hypothesis when it is true. Sa ating example, ang ibig sabihin niyan ay hinatulan ng judge ng hukom yung tao na inosente. At yung type 2 error naman is the acceptance, the null hypothesis when it is false. Ibig sabihin, pinawalang sala niya yung totoo palang kriminal. So, nagkamali siya ng kanyang naging desisyon. So, dalawa lamang yung magiging desisyon ng hukom. Okay? So, kaya sinasabi na mayroon at mayroong error na makukumit sa isang research. At ito yung ibig sabihin ng level of significance. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, a level of significance, let's say for example, ang ginamit natin is 0.05. O ano bang ibig sabihin ng 0.05? Margin of error. Tama ba? Margin of error, 0.05. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng 0.05? This is an X percentage of chance that you will accept the alternative hypothesis when the null hypothesis is true. Okay? Ito yung pagkakataon o ito yung percentage ng pagkakataon na mali ang magiging desisyon ng judge. Na nakukuha nyo guys? So, ibig sabihin, yung magiging desisyon daw ng judge sa pag-accept and reject ng null hypothesis ay 5% lamang. So, 5% lamang yung magiging desisyon ni judge na yung desisyon niya, masasabi natin mali yung desisyon niya. So, napakaliit, di ba, ng percentage na mali yung decision ng judge. Kaya nga tinawag tayong researchers, kaya nga tinawag na judge ay expert, professional. Ibig sabihin, alam niya yung kanyang ginagawa. Pero nandyan pa rin kasi yung tinatawag natin, there is no perfect. Walang perfectong tao. So, ganun din sa magiging desisyon. Kahit sabihin nyo ng expert yung judge, kahit na sabihin ninyong expert yung professor, kahit sabihin ninyong expert yung researchers or investigators, mayroon at mayroon pa rin itong magiging desisyon na hindi tama. Magkakaroon at magkakaroon siya ng mali sa kanyang desisyon. At ito nga, yung ibig sabihin at connection ng level of significance sa type of error. Alright? So, puntahan natin yung hypothesis testing. So, example na lang tong hypothesis testing na to, no? But the explanation, I already explained ano ba yung type 1 and type 2 error. So, what is the connection of the level of significance? So, let me know guys if it's clear what does level of significance means, what is the effect of the level of significance on the decision of the whether to accept or to reject the null hypothesis. So just comment on the comment section. So let's say for example, in a correlation test, all right? Correlation is a statistical test to determine the degree of association between the two groups of a continuous variables. Okay? So when you say continuous variables, the data that should need or that is needed to perform a correlation should be interval or ratio scale of measurement. Okay? So if your data is not in interval or ratio scale, then you may opt not to use, not to use the person product moment correlation. You can use other tests that requires other levels of measurement. All right. So let's say for example in this correlation, if your data is continuous variable, okay, then you can use the Pearson product moment correlation. All right. When your data again is in continuous or an interval or ratio scale of measurement, you can use the Pearson product moment correlation. Okay. But if your data is not in the interval or ratio scale, let's say for example, this is an ordinal level of measurement, then you may opted to use the Spearman-Rho correlation. Alright? And if your data is not in the interval, is not in ratio, is not on ordinal, but a nominal level of measurement, then you can use other tests. Okay, you can use other tests, which in which I will going to discuss the different tests when you conduct a correlation analysis. Okay, so just wait for some time, guys, because I need to prepare for this kind of presentation, no? So, all right. So another correlation is a statistical measurement that is used to determine the direction and the strength of the association between the two quantitative variables. Okay, so based on this definition, it says it involves understanding the direction of the variable. Okay, and also, aside from the direction, we can also determine if the association or the relationship or the correlation between the two groups of variables is significant or not. Or meaning, will there be enough evidence? Okay, will there be enough evidence on our decision? Okay, let's say for example, a statistics doctor consultancy is a data science consulting firm providing data science, statistics, research services to other businesses, groups, and individuals. As a drive and initiative to penetrate the global market, they have decided to conduct a study to determine whether there is a linear association between money spent on advertising and the company sales. Alright? By the way, guys, so Statistics Doctor Consultancy is my company established and founded last September 2015. So our office is located at number 84, okay, Nara Street, Barangay Duyan, Project 3, Quezon City. So for any statistical advice, any statistical consulting, any statistical and data science services, you may reach us at statisticsdoctor@gmail.com. That is my personal email, or you may reach us at etech.international.com. Alright, but to make sure, you may need to send it to my personal email, okay, so I can check it immediately. statisticsdoctor@gmail.com. Alright, so the purpose of this study, alright, or investigation is that Statistics Doctor Consultancy was thinking of boosting their campaigns to penetrate the global market. However, they are quite hesitant to spend money for fear that it will not favor their ideas and goal. They are thinking that it was just a waste of money, time, and effort. Wherein, they're thinking if they can get, a high return on investment. Alright? They're not sure how much ROI can they get per thousands of money spending. So what they did was to conduct an acid test if their claim is true or in favor of their vision and mission. Alright? So they were trying to test whether to continue spending money for advertising their services so that they can able to capture their market. Alright? So this is the data, the money spending in thousands of pesos and the sales in thousands of pesos. So for example, with a spending of 2,400, they will get the 225,000 sales. For 1,600 spending, they'll get 184,000 sales, and so on and so forth. Alright? So we conduct the hypothesis testing. So this is the alternative and this is the null hypothesis. Okay, so the null hypothesis, denoted as HO, it says there is no significant correlation between money spending and the sales of the company or the ROI. Okay, remember again guys, the null hypothesis, there is no, okay, there is no significant correlation between the money spending and the sales of the company. And the alternative hypothesis is that there is a significant correlation between the number or the money spent for advertising and the sales. And then step 2 is set the level of significance. Okay, so this is what I'm telling you a while ago. What does 0.05 mean? Okay, so this is the percentage chance that you will accept the alternative hypothesis when the null hypothesis is true. Okay, sa Tagalog, ito yung percentage na tatanggapin natin yung alternative hypothesis. Okay, ano ba yung alternative na binanggit ko kanina? There is significant correlation between between the money spending and the sales of the company. Ito yung pagkakataon, ito yung percentage na sasabihin natin na mali yung magiging decision natin. Okay? Ito yung percentage na tatanggapin natin yung alternative hypothesis. Pero ang totoo pala, yung null hypothesis pala ang tama. Okay? Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na yung professor, sinasabi niya, dapat accept o dapat reject the null hypothesis daw, sir. Dapat, there is significant dapat yung result. Or siguro hindi lang na-explain masyado ng professor. So, yun lang siguro yung kulang sa explanation. Okay? So, again, yun po yung ibig sabihin ng level of significance. So, ito po yung text, textual interpretation ng rho is equal to 0 and rho is not equal to 0. So, ibig pong sabihin nun in text, the population correlation coefficient is not significantly different from 0. There is no significant correlation between the x and y. And the HA or the alternative hypothesis, rho is not equal to 0 means the population correlation coefficient is significantly different from 0. There is significant correlation between x and y in the population. So you notice guys, no? Alternative and null hypothesis was stated opposite. Okay? The null hypothesis was stated negatively, right? As you can see, there is no significance, while the alternative is positively stated. Let's say, for example, as you see, there is significant. Okay, so the alternative is, paano ba yung binanggit ko kanina, yung terminology na binanggit ko kanina, kumakatawan. Yan. Ang null hypothesis ay kumakatawan sa akusado. Ang alternative hypothesis ay kumakatawan sa nag-aakusa o complainant. So, sabi ng complainant, nakita ko. So, pareho sinasabi niya rito, there is significant. Alright, so yan, mag-i-state na naman tayo ng level of significance. Then, magka-calculate tayo ng statistics, and then yung decision rule, and so on so forth. Ayan, so ito yung naging decision niya. Alright. Ayan. Ayan. So, ito yung final decision. Based on the figures, no? Base doon sa decision rule, ang decision rule kasi is, if the t-value computed is greater than the tabular value, reject the null hypothesis. So, yung computed t-value is 3.76. Yung critical value is 0.632. So, dahil mas malaki yung computed na t-value kumpara doon sa critical value, we need to reject the null hypothesis and conclude that there is a significant correlation between the money spent for advertising and the sales of the company. So, ibig sabihin, kung ako yung may-ari ng company, sasabihin ko sa aking marketing manager, sasabihin ko sa aking advertising and marketing manager na, alright, sige, maglaan kayo ng budget para sa advertising ng company para i-advertise yung ating mga products and services. Dahil kapag nag-advertise tayo ng products and services natin, malaki yung balik niya sa ating kumpanya. Malaki yung ating kikitain. So, kung gumastos tayo ng 2,500 na investment for the advertising ng ating products and services, maaari tayong kumita ng higit 225,000. So, ilang percentage? Doble, triple, quadruple, o sobra-sobra pa yung balik niya sa atin. Alright, so this is about the type of error in a hypothesis testing. Maraming salamat and have a great day. Alright, so before anything else, I would like to give you some background about who I am. Alright, so my name is Vincent Torre Bungolan, a data scientist by profession with more than 18 years of experience in technology and analytics. I am currently working for TDCX Philippines as a Senior Business Insights Manager 2, wherein I am handling 3 pillars in my team. Alright? So the reports and the visualization team, the analytics and the insights team, and the reports developer and the automation team. And each team does, they have their own subordinates as well. Alright, so our main role in the organization is to help and collaborate with the operations, with the training teams, with the quality team, with the talent acquisitions, with the workforce, and all other stakeholders within the organization. Alright, so prior to TDCX Philippines, I am the Senior Data Science and Artificial Intelligence Lead for Innovation at the Asian Development Bank. Alright, so we develop, since Asian Development Bank is an international commercial bank, our role and our job is actually for the benefit of the bank. So, we already build different AI applications for the benefit of the bank. And we also develop a chatbot for the bank to help the people within the organization. And we also trained a robot to cater the visitors of the bank. And what else? What we do in EDB, of course, so to automate the process of certain deliverables. So we do the robotic process automation. All right. Prior to Asian Development Bank, I am the Senior Data Science Associate Manager at Accenture Philippines. All right. And prior to Accenture, I am the Senior Investment Research Analyst at the Integrion Managed Solution. And aside from my current work at TDCX, I am also teaching at the La Salle College of St. Benilde, specifically at the School of Management and Information Technology, or the SMIT. And at the same time, I also wrote a program course about the emerging technologies at the School of Professional and Continuing Education, also at the La Salle College of St. Benilde. So, you may go through their website and check out my profile in the space, School of Professional and Continuing Education. Alright, so I'm also a book author on research and statistics, as you can see in the photo. And I'm also a contributing author on different e-learning platforms such as Udemy, Coursera, edX, and other e-learning platforms. I'm also a certified Google analyst. Alright, so I'm also a certified Google analyst wherein I am earning money from YouTube. It's because one of the subject matter that I'm handling at De La Salle College of St. Benilde is the social media analytics. So I decided to make or build our lesson as evidence-based as it should. So I decided to conduct and create a lesson wherein to make use of the data, okay, applying the analytics, all right, in a social media. And like anyone else, all right, after my graduation in college, my career, my life story was actually published in one of the biggest broadsheets in the Philippines, the Philippine Daily Inquirer. So it was a whole page that discussed about my experience, about everything about my experience as a student and as a data scientist, as a statistician. And the other photo is about the speaking engagement at the university. So I'm actually teaching at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines and Arellano University as well. And I do have my speaking engagement. So as you can see in the photo, I was one of the main resource speakers in that particular said events. Alright, and that is my company, Statistics Doctor Consultancy. Alright, so thank you very much. So if you need some help, consultation, or any other services that we could provide, that we could confidently provide, ayan, for your benefits, please reach me through my personal email at statisticsdoctor@gmail.com. Thank you and have a great day.